Welcome back to Market It with ATMA, where we share the tips, tools, and strategies to help your business be successful. I'm your host, Storie, and we have reached the final series episode of the Build, Launch, Grow, Scale series. So welcome back, everyone. And we have, again, joining us, Mr. Bryan Acosta, CEO of Advent Trinity, to explain to us today how to scale smart and how to encompass all of the new age technology and with a marketing strategy that is clear and defined. Welcome, Bryan.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I think we should just jump right into the scale phase. We've gone through build, launch, grow. Scale is important, but you can't have it without the others, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and talk on the first question for a minute. Bryan, what's the biggest mindset shift business owners need to scale correctly?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is that, when we're talking about scale, everybody wants to get into scale phase and everybody's anticipating, hey, but I'm just going to talk real, like as a business owner to business owner, right? Business doesn't go as planned as always, right?
I think that's always variable.
And the thing is, it sometimes takes time to get into the scale phase, right? And so we have to put a lot of energy in building and then launching the business and then growing the business. Those are the main three. But scaling never actually works unless there's a foundation. And that foundation, well, it starts with building, right? It starts with making sure you have the right foundation. And so let me kind of give you an example here, right? Because you have, and we'll talk about this too, like we're going to mainly talking about CRM and AI automation. So a lot of people are like, hey, I want to scale because I want to scale quickly. Mm-hmm. I want speed, right? Scaling has nothing to do with speed.
Interesting.
Scaling has to do with stability. Okay, so you can't scale in chaos. A lot of business owners, that's what they want to do. They want to scale in chaos,
but they don't know they're scaling in chaos, right?
Yeah, I mean, they just like they're like, well, there's problem here, there's problem there, right? And the reality is, you have to know what the difference between scaling and creating systems to, ensure that things are scalable, right?
Okay.
And those are two different things. So I'm going to give you an example, right? So everybody wants to use AI, everybody wants to start utilizing these tools, and that's great. But example one, let's just say I want to do customer support AI.
Okay.
How would you do that?
Well, I would think first a chat bot. I would want a chat bot to respond.
But what are the answers that it's giving?
Ooh, right? That's a good point.
So and so you can be like, well, it's just generic. No, that's not how it works, right? So, building a true support AI, if you look at the bigger, businesses out there, they're filled with knowledge bases. They're filled with how-tos. They're filled with support documents. They're filled with articles. They're filled with videos. Mm-hmm. So the AI has plenty of resources to do what? To refer back to.
Right.
And so if you don't have a foundation of support articles, things that help answer those questions.
Your content, right?
Exactly. Your process, your business, right? Mm-hmm. You can't train the AI. And think of the AI as one of your employees, right? If you can't train an employee, then how do you expect to train an AI?
Absolutely.
Right? So, and I was going to say, like, the same example for sales AI.
Okay.
Sales AI, do you have a sales system? Do you have sales documents? Do you have sales scripts? Do you have, once again, when people think of AI, it's like, oh, it's just going to do its own thing. And that's just not how it works. You have to train the AI. The AI speaks how you speak, right? And the AI talks the way you talk. It's artificial intelligence, but what is it referring to? It's not gonna fix your problems off of just being there, right? So there has to be that mindset change where, hey, before we even think about AI, before we even think about CRM automation, before we even think about automation period or scaling, do we have a foundation where, hey, even if I'm using AI or a real person, can I train that AI or person?
That's a great point. I didn't think of it as think of it as if you're training your staff. Mm-hmm. How do you want your staff to respond and train your AI the same way? Is that what you're saying?
Yep, exactly.
That's awesome. So let's talk about time now. What are the first processes someone should automate to reclaim time in their business? Everyone wants mailbox money. They want it to work without having to pay attention to it every single day. So what's the first process someone should focus on?
I think you first need to talk about bottlenecks, right? And as a business owner, you need to first think of, like, what would an assistant look like to me? right? There's a lot of things that you could do. What does an assistant do? Well, they call and they confirm appointments. Well, you can use AI for that. You can use automation for that.
Of course.
Excuse me. But you don't have to use AI to do that. There's plenty of CRM automations and software automations that allow you to automate that as well. There's calendar systems that help you manage like your calendar. So just first off, bottlenecks, right?
Okay.
What's bottlenecking your business? Is it for a small business? Is it you have leads coming in? Are you qualifying them? Back in the day we had old systems, and once again, all these softwares are doing is piggybacking off of systems that are already in place.
Okay.
So think of I used to work in the gym. So let's talk about the gym.
Okay.
So in the gym, every morning they would have us call and confirm our appointments. Why? Like literally physically pick up the phone and call if you schedule an appointment for people to tour the facility, tour the gym, maybe do a free day pass, get them in, which still works. You still want that personal touch. I wouldn't say stop calling, but there's systems in place already now where the software will automatically email for reminders. And it will automatically text for reminders as well, which is funny because I'm pretty sure you've ran into this when you have appointments and your automatic emails get sent out and they think it's really us emailing them.
Absolutely, because we've trained, you've put the system in place so that the AI automation talks like I would talk.
Yep.
And behave. And
it's funny because they're like, oh yeah, he's actually confirming, and so I have to reply back. So they'll reply back to the email not knowing, and I'm glad because if there's a problem, I do want to know if I have to respond back. But that's not really me. That's the automation in place, right? You have to pre-frame sales calls. There's things that you can do that allow you to take step by step, maybe how-tos or setting up the expectation of a sales call, which will help you boost your show rates. For e-commerce, it's so let's go into like retail, right? Okay. E-commerce does this, and they've been doing this with AI and without AI. Before AI existed, they still do this, which is the abandoned cart methodology, right? If somebody puts something in their cart, Amazon does this a lot too.
They still do it, yes.
Yes. Oh my God, they beat up my emails when I'm like, I just want to put it in my cart. I want to put it in my cart so I don't forget, but then I get emails. I'm like, hey, you have something in your cart. Hello, right? And so just automating reminders to close the sale. At the end of the day, automation, it helps with the basic stuff. So think about the fundamental things that you're doing to automate. And a lot of people, when they think automation, they're really, at first glance, all they're thinking about is, I just want this business to run on its own.
For sure.
Unfortunately, if you wanted to do that, you have to spend a lot of time, a lot of energy building the foundation.
Absolutely. Right? And to your point, finding those bottlenecks and seeing if AI can help you automate those, I think is a great advice to anyone. Okay, so AI is everywhere. It's all the buzz, right? So what are the smartest, most practical ways to use AI in marketing right now?
So the first thing, once again, is knowing that AI it's not a magical tool. It's a strategy amplifier, right? So if you're amplifying what you are already doing, if you're using it to, basically, you can, but if you're doing it, it doesn't have your natural voice. It doesn't have your natural business sense, right?
Right.
And things could go wrong. Trust me. If you put anything into ChatGPT and you don't check it, you'd be in trouble. So that being said, don't jump into blindly without knowing what kind of outcome you're trying to produce and what kind of AI software. I mean, there's a gazillion. That's not even. I think that's a word.
There's more coming out each day than I could count for sure.
And some of them are identical to others, but some of them are really cool, right? But a lot of them are imperfect. Almost every one of them is actually imperfect.
It's just like training a person, right?
They are tools, and at the end of the day, if you don't realize that they're tools, then you've already lost, right? But so you have to, first off, what am I trying to accomplish? Am I trying to write content? Am I trying to help myself with email marketing? Am I trying to help me with an assistant? Am I trying to I don't know, help me with marketing and SEO? Am I trying to, and there's AI now that allows us to do like audience segmentation and predictive targeting, like where, in fact, it's funny because AI is new to us. You know who it's not new to?
Who?
Google.
Oh, absolutely. They're the ones that spearheaded it,
So
right?
Google, their search engine was AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, Facebook, it's not new to them either. You know why? Because a lot of their algorithms,
Mm-hmm.
which is what it is artificial intelligence, is artificial intelligence. So, understanding that, what am I using this for? Sales automation, customer service automation?
Right.
What issues am I trying to fix right now?
Okay.
Right? And so often, we look at AI, we look at the CRMs, we look at these softwares, and we're trying to automate stuff that hasn't had yet a foundation, which goes back again, what is the foundation? What am I trying to accomplish? So the first step is, okay, let's actually talk about our goals. Is it lead generation? Is it qualifying leads? Is it helping with show rates? Is it helping my salespeople?
Mm-hmm.
Is it helping my customer service? Customer support. What am I trying to accomplish here? And is it accomplishing it in a way as if I had a human being? Not, because a lot of times, a lot of people will try to implement AI, and people know it's AI, and they get mad. Because it's not real.
Because it's not personal, right? So it's all about really how you educate your AI and if it's really optimizing what you need it to optimize, right?
And right then and there, you lose your credibility as a business. And then once again, you start to go down, people stop trusting you.
Well, 100%, and they won't refer you. So to move to my next question, to jump off of AI for just a second, you often say scale doesn't mean chaos. You mentioned it in the very first part of our interview. How do you build systems that support growth and not stress? Because I'm sure as a team member of yours, I'm stressed a lot, but how do you support more growth than you do stress with your team?
So, what is chaos? Chaos is trying to do a lot of things at the same time.
Right.
I always tell people, and I say this a lot to my employees. What do I say? I say one thing at a time.
Yep.
One thing at a time. So, you want to make sure that chaos happens, but while chaos happens, because business is sometimes chaos, but you're growing at the outcome that is on pace of what's going on. Right?
Okay.
You're always going to have problems. You're always going to have problems in business. Your job as a business owner and a CEO is, okay, what's the problem? How do I find systems to solve those problems?
Right.
And I think that's the key word here is systems. Scaling is about systems, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people, when they think scale, they think of this automation, but I think systems. What are the systems that we have in place that will help us elevate our business and processes, right?
Right.
And then the automation tools and the software and the AI, they are amplifiers of those systems, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what we really need to do is, like, in the midst of chaos, you create more systems to reduce the chaos, right?
Okay.
You need to document processes. Like, if people don't document things, right? How many things do I have documented a lot, right? Like, it's...
If we didn't have a cloud drive, it'd be scary.
Yep.
We document everything.
Yeah. Do we have clear roles? Do we have repeatable workflows?
Yes.
As your boss, right? And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
talking to you, like, if I didn't have a sales process, a clear sales process, a process of how the customer goes from point A to point Z, it would be very hard for you to sell.
Right. Without that framework or template to base everything off of, it'd be impossible.
And it would be even harder for me to set up automation.
Absolutely.
If I didn't have those processes. So, you first have to think, okay, making sure that you have these systems in place, right?
Okay.
Because when you're building out automation, this is what automation looks like when you think of terms, right? As you're building it out, you're setting up rules just for you. Like we set up rules. If this happens, then do this. So you set up triggers. You're setting the same triggers. When you're working with a customer service, when you're working with employees, what are you doing? Well, if this happens, you do this. Well, if this situation happens, you do this. Well, if you don't have that written out, you can't expect to set up automation.
Absolutely. So are you saying in the grow phase that you need to be paying attention to those things and making sure you have that framework written out before you move on to scale?
You should be in love with charts and diagrams.
Right.
Like literally mapping out, if this does this. Honestly, if you get used to diagrams and actually charting it out, that's exactly what happens. You'll go into like these softwares like HubSpot, ChatGPT, and other things of that nature. If this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. And if you're mapping out those triggers, I mean, you're basically becoming a expert automation. It's no different. You know, you first, once again, write it out on pen and paper. You can still use AI to help you, refine.
Right.
But it has to have a foundation first.
Okay, that's a great point. So how do you know when you're actually ready to scale? For instance, what are some red flags that say you're not ready to scale?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So if you're solving, if you keep solving the same problem over and over, then you're not ready.
Okay.
So, and the reason why I put that as a top point here is because that means you haven't solved the problem, right? And the system doesn't work. So the reason why you create systems is for what?
For automation.
For automation, but it's to solve the problem.
Absolutely.
Right? And if it becomes, hey, this is working, right? Now it becomes an engine. Now you can go back and look at automation, saying, okay, let me take a look at AI. Let me take a look at my software. Let me take a look at my CRM. And now let me automate because we know it works. You don't go into something and try to automate something because you think it's going to work. That's not how it works. You have to test and measure, and the only way to test and measure is by real experience, right?
Right.
And then, scaling magnifies everything, so including broken processes.
Ooh, so like, you don't want to magnify those broken.
Yes, like if you think it's a problem now and you automate something that you were not paying attention to, it's a bigger problem, right? When it's being automated. So here's some warning signs. If you have no standard operating procedures, if you don't have standard operating procedures, don't even think about scaling. Right? Because you're trying to scale something that has no procedures, right? If you're missed follow-ups and poor client retention, I'm telling you right now, AI automation, that is not going to be your saving grace, okay? You have to first fix that problem. Bottlenecks and onboarding fulfillment, like, people want to automate, but they don't know what actually really works. So here's when you know I'm ready. Okay, I'm ready to do this. Everything looks good. When you have strong demand and you have a strong process. Okay. That's number one. Number two is, do you have repeatable results? Is it something that the results are repeatable?
Consistently.
And it's consistent. Now I'm saying, okay, now it's time for me to say, okay, how do I scale this and make this faster?
Okay.
And then there is it, you fix that what's broken, and now you're ready to amplify it. So it's not broken anymore. It doesn't need repair. Now I need to amplify it. Amplifying it is make it scalable, make it faster, right? It's efficient. Now how do we speed up the process?
Okay.
Think of it. You know what? This is a good example. It just came in my mind. Boom. This is great.
Light bulb.
Okay. AI and automation and CRM automation is the conveyor belt.
Oh.
Okay. Now the conveyor belt does nothing, right? It's the conveyor belt. It moves the product down the conveyor belt. Okay. The conveyor belt does nothing if the people and the tools aren't in the right place to build the product, to build this demand. If you're thinking, okay, I'm just going to build a conveyor belt, but those whatever you're using to build the products or the services or to deliver the product or service, if those systems aren't in place, then you can't build a conveyor belt.
It was pointless, wasted money and time, right?
Exactly.
Okay, that's great. So tell us, what are your favorite automation tools for small business owners looking to scale, but scale lean?
Okay, yeah. So, obviously we're HubSpot partners, but there are other CRMs out there that do automation. But the reason why we use HubSpot is, because of the flexibility, scalability it has, and the features that it has. So, we use that. We use ChatGPT. Everybody uses ChatGPT nowadays, right?
But are you using it right?
Just a shameless plug. I'm doing a ChatGPT workshop this month.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. So catch that. Might be doing webinars later out the year. I'm not sure. Depends on how this one goes. But ChatGPT is obviously changed the landscape of AI. There's things that you can do with ChatGPT, basically it speaks like you, talks like you.
Yeah, teach it the tone of voice.
Another AI that I forgot to put on here is Motion. You guys use Motion.
I love Motion. It's amazing. If you haven't heard of it and you need help scheduling your life, get it, guys.
So there's Motion that's basically like a task management AI. It helps you. I'm not very good at managing my time. Okay, so there's that. So you got HubSpot, ChatGPT. I mean, there's a plethora of them. Like, there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of them I can't even think about right now.
That you constantly stay educated on as a marketing company. I mean, I would assume you would have to, but there are some not to use as well.
Absolutely, and there's some you got to be careful what you're being sold on when it comes to AI. A lot of them are imperfect once again, and a lot of them won't work with what you're trying to accomplish.
Right.
And that's the problem too, is that in today's age, and this happens a lot in everything that we do, they make it seem easy, right? And then when you get into the software, it's like, this isn't what I was expecting. They kind of overpromised, underdelivered, right?
Absolutely. And you're locked in.
And then you're locked in, and then you're trying to, get your money back, and you can't. But anyways, so really have a strategy. And then, there's integration systems like Zapier.
Okay.
Zapier is an integration tool, allows you to integrate one software with another or multiple softwares. And that thing is using AI now, and it helps you kind of map out stuff. So there's just a ton, and I mean a ton, of software out there. And part of the reason why you need to research what actual software is going to work for your actual company, because you could easily, just take a look, and this is part of one of our stories too, but just like just Nuvadesk alone, the co-working space, we went through 3 different membership systems to finally find the one that actually will manage this facility.
Right. And you seem to stay more educated on what is working for different industries, since we have a plethora of industries now, which is going to be my next ask of you is, do you have any client success stories that you really, where automation helped them scale smarter?
Yeah.
Not just fast.
Obviously the co-working space is the biggest one that we have, because what we did was we set up the membership system, and it goes from point A to point Z. And how do we workflow that, right? So from the minute that they inquire on the website, to getting auto reminders to come to the facility, to even showing a pre-tour before the tour. Right. So we automated that. So it goes from one page to another. Right. So you can see the facility before you come see the facility. That way we don't waste time. Right. Like
yours or ours.
Exactly. It's like, is this something that you're looking for or not? Right. And then finally the automation from onboarding, and then automating that workflow from the customers being onboarded. How does that work? Answering those questions to the resource center and how the software works, because the coworker uses a lot of software. Right.
Right, absolutely.
In fact, if you're working and dealing with software, you're going to need automation. So it brings me to the next customer. I'm not going to say who it is, but the software, right? We actually use AI to build the resource center. So you use ChatGPT to help you build out the processes, and this is how you would strategically utilize artificial intelligence to help you.
Okay.
So you use AI to build out the actual documentation. You use systems like Scribe and Tango to actually, when you click on different steps, it would walk you through how the software works, right?
Right.
And just so you know, that alone used to cost thousands and thousands. You would pay somebody to take screenshots and document everything, basically SOPs for software. It would take thousands of dollars.
And
now you can
hours
use
of time.
AI to help you do this on your own, right? Let's see. I'm trying to think here as well.
You had a few different ones I know that we spoke about earlier, but to your point, you really have to do the research.
Well, in the smaller companies, because we have a lot of health and wellness companies under us as well, show ratios were a problem. Well, show ratios is always a problem, especially when it comes to like appointment-based businesses. The first thing you could possibly do is, and things like Calendly and HubSpot and all these things that offer calendar systems, they make it so easy to just follow up and saying, hey, just a reminder of your upcoming appointment. It's coming up in 1 hour or 15 minutes and things of that nature.
Right. So maybe to your point on the second or third question I asked you, look at the programs you have now. Look at the bottlenecks you have and see if those programs already have availability so you can optimize those bottlenecks. a great idea, in my opinion. So pretty much, Brian, what you've kind of gone over with us is the fact that scaling can be overwhelming. It doesn't have to be with this right automation and smart automation.
Yeah, just be smart about it. And kind of like a summary of what we talked about today first is, you have to have a foundation first, right? Then AI. People just really are so eager, I would say that, eager to get into AI without having a solid foundation. They build the system first, then automate it.
Okay.
If that's a key phrase, I think we're about to use AI to edit this podcast. I forgot about that one.
We are.
But build a system, then automate it. Okay. Start automating where you lose time. So automate, for example, now for this podcast, we use artificial intelligence to help with editing to expedite. Obviously it gets back to the video editor and they make sure it's correct and they edit properly, but we help expedite that, which helps us to then serve more customers, right?
Absolutely.
Because, our demand is high, right? And so because our demand is high, we have to help understand and help our staff to help other customers. We have to use AI to amplify strategy, not replace it. So, you're not replacing strategy, you're amplifying it. And I'm going to keep on saying that over and over again. You use automation, use AI to amplify what you have, not to replace it. Scaling should simplify, not complicate. If it's complicating your business, you're not doing it right. And then you can't scale broken stuff because it will shine faster than those that are good. And then just make sure that you're using the right tools. Do your research. Make sure you're using the right tools to automate. And so that's kind of what we went through today.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for the summary, Brian, and helping us understand how to scale with clarity. Let's turn it to the audience. Would you like to answer a few questions from the audience today?
Sure, why not?
So our first question that we have on the board is, what's the best AI tool for creating consistent social media content that you found?
So obviously we still use Canva. But Canva's probably our most go-to. It does have artificial intelligence in there, but we still use ChatGPT to help us with content writing. Make sure though, and how do we do it? How do we scale our agency? Because we have lots of customers in different industries. It's, one thing that you have to understand is you have to teach. Part of the process of social media is teaching the AI how you talk, how you speak, what you want it to say. And then ensuring that our content writer is obviously checking the content because ChatGPT isn't perfect. So make sure it's grammarly correct. And then we use, Canva to help us with, different graphic ideas and things of that nature. Those are probably the best tools that I know for a fact that have helped a lot of people with their social media. Right?
Okay.
One thing I will say though, no matter, because I know we want to scale. And it's easy to get in the mundane of, hey, I really want to expedite this. Nothing is better than authentic content. So one of the things that we learned was, video editing software like Opus, things of that nature, that help us produce this, because this is authentic, but edit it in a way that goes onto the internet, but on social media. So those would be my biggest things: ChatGPT, Canva, Opus. Take a look into them.
Great one. Social media is everything right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the second question I have on here is, can automation work for service-based businesses primarily, or is it mostly for e-commerce? What automation is best for what industry?
Automation is for every industry.
Okay.
If the system is in place, right?
Okay.
So you can't automate. It goes back to what we've been talking about. I can automate sales if I have multiple sales documents, how you work. I can automate that. I can automate training salespeople through learning management systems and getting them onboarding, right? So things of that nature. People didn't realize, when people think of learning management systems, they think of online courses. They think
absolutely.
so. And here's something to think about too. because you have some customers that might be interested in this. But learning management systems, when you think of learning management systems, you think, oh, I'm just going to sell a course. It's going to be CEU. People are going to get credit. You can use a learning management system, integrate with the internet system, right? And onboard new salespeople.
Oh, wow.
Right. And so if you have sales training and saying, hey, I want you to go through this course first, then we're going to have a sales meeting. Right?
Wow.
Now you can literally automate your sales process. Okay.
That's great points. Because actually my third question on here was, how do I choose between hiring help and automating a task?
That's a good question. I mean, we just talked about that.
Yeah.
Right? So the question to answer that question is, once again, a lot of people are eager to replace people. But if you couldn't train a person, you can't train an AI.
Ooh,
right?
That's a good point.
And so I've seen a lot of people that they'll downsize because they think they can automate, and what realize is that and here's the truth is that we see what people don't see because we're managing people's social media. And so we see the reviews coming in. We see the comments, whether they're good or they're bad, right? And so when we see bad comments, it's like, hey, you don't have a marketing problem. You have an operational problem.
Absolutely.
And you can't scale that and you can't automate that if you don't fix the customer service first, right? And so, and you might have a culture problem that we can't fix it no matter what we do. Right?
Absolutely. So marketing and process, everyone, is two very different things.
Yep, two very different things.
You can market, but that process, it has to have a personal touch, it seems like.
I've said this before in other webinars and other podcasts, is you can't outmarket bad customer service or bad customer experience. And it's like, I gave the analogy of the gym, right? Every trainer is going to tell you the same thing. You cannot outwork a bad diet.
Ooh.
Right? In your business is you can't out-automate bad processes.
Absolutely. And customer service.
That up just right now. So I'm going to use that for an ebook later.
Hey, why not, right? The things you'll think about. Well, Bryan, I really appreciate you going through every phase of the build, launch, grow, scale methodology. And for our listeners out there, if you're ready to take your business to the next step, please go out to adventtrinity.com, schedule an appointment with our team, and we'd be more than happy to help you. And don't be afraid. We're not leaving you forever. We have a lot of upcoming guests with strategies, tools, and tips to help your business succeed, just as Bryan did in this series. So until next time, we'll see you then.